Good day, everyone. Today it is all about them graphs and Desmos. Graphs and Desmos. So in this lesson, like the title implied, graphs. It's all about graphs. All right. So at this moment, we are doing our ACT Kahoot. So it's there for you guys to look at and to do with. All right. We just got through with our Kahoot. So this is just something to remember. When you're dealing with percentages, make sure on the calculator you go mode, float, then when you get to float, move it to 2. And after you finish that, you're going to go second and mode. Therefore, all your decimals that you're looking for will be in percents. Like if you want to do 40%, when you follow this, you're going to put 40 divided by 100, and that's going to give you 0.40, and that's 40%. So when you do that in the calculator, it's real easy, and you don't have to figure out how to write that as a percent. Remember, slope is rise over run. Rise over run. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then your coordinate pair, like x and y, could be written as a table value of x and y. Okay? These are things to remember in the Kahoot. From the Kahoot to help you in ACT. Speaking of which, it is time for our data ACT talk. So, in the beginning of this semester, when we came back for Christmas break, I posted something in Google Classroom about the scores that you needed to pass. This one I'm showing you is the scale that you need from 18 and above. Anything below 18 is an F. So you remember, you fail ACT, you're putting yourself in danger of failing Algebra 2 for the spring semester. So just for a reminder, if you get an 18, 18 is the minimum score you need. And to do that, that means you gotta get at least 24 questions right. Now remember, we gotta find out the percentage that is. So remember, your ACT is 60 questions. And to get the minimum score, you gotta get 24 of these correct. So let's go ahead and find out what percentage that, in case you have forgotten the score. So 24 divided by 60, that's a 40%. And we know 40% is obviously an F. The United States of America, is asking you to score at least a 40% F. Again, a 40% F is the score you need for the ACT. However, to get into colleges, well, colleges to get paid. Let me make this clear. To get the money, to go full ride, and to have an easy college career, you must score at least a minimum score of 20. And you gotta get above. 20 and above is what you're looking for. So if we go 20, well, if we look at the 20 questions, the score of 20, that means you gotta get 28 to 29 questions correct. So 28 divided by 60, that's a 47%. That is telling you to make a 47%. And if 47 is still an F, according to a grade book, that's how you get the money. Alright? Go above. And then that 21 is a 30. So that means you gotta get 30 out of 60, which we know 30 out of 60 is a 50% off. These are what the United States of America is asking you to make if you want to get paid. Let me correct myself. The 40% is what is asked from you from the district. The district is asking you to score a minimum of 40. The district is asking you to score this score. That's what the district is asking you. To get the money, you gotta get a 20 or above. And that's 20, and that's right there, 47%, and then 50%. Now listen up. I want to make this clear because most teachers are not going to tell y'all this. And I don't know why we don't say this, but the whole point of ACT, it tests your ability of how well would you do in college, how fast will you graduate in college. If you score less than the 18, and take it for someone who did score less than the 18, college is going to be much more difficult for you, and you may have to take a little bit longer to get it done. The reason why I'm telling you guys this in particular, because you can get into college for anything nowadays. There's so much money out there for you to go to college. You go to college for being simply just black. You go to college for being gay. You go to college for being a transgender. You go to college for playing basketball, for a football player, anything. You go to college for any of those reasons, and someone will pay you for those reasons. Those reasons I have stated, you can get paid for those. You can get money for college, and sometimes you can get paid enough to a point that you don't have to work. And I tell you my personal tale about me scoring a 17. I scored a 17, and yes, I got into college because I at that time spoke French very fluently, and the fact that I come from a third world country, which being Jacques Haiti. That's how I was able to get to college. But college was not too easy for it was not easy for me because of that low ACT score. And I came in, I struggled, but I didn't, fail. But most kids who have that ACT score do not make it. Again, most people with a low ACT score do not finish school because the challenges you're not used to them. Many of you guys struggle with me because you're not used to having a teacher who's like me, who throw these obstacles at you, who expects so much of you. I'm the taste of what college is going to be like. So if you could survive me, meaning that you could pass my test, not pass because you got enough points to slide on by, you're good. Again, I cannot stress this enough. I emphasize this to you guys. 18 is a minimum score for the district, but to get the money, you gotta get a 20 or above. And you can get college for anything, but let me tell you, these scores, they mean something. They do. I promise you they do. You're gonna struggle if you got less than 18. You're gonna struggle horrendously. I survived college and did well enough in college because my science was my highest score, which was like a 19, somewhere like that. My math was the 17, but because I put in the hard work and shown the skills and sacrificed a lot, I was able to get through college. All right? And I will talk to you more about my story. All right? About college and all this and all that. So, I'm going to move on right quick. All right, so look, this is the ACT data for when you guys took a practice ACT with me back in last semester. I already told you the required percentage that you needed to make. You needed to score at least or 40%. And we looking at this, only one person made above of 40. Only one. No one else in this particular group scored that 40%. I warn you all that if you don't give me that 40%, which result to that 18 at least, that's going to put hindrance in your grades. If I was to record these grades in the book, only one would pass, or one would have a guarantee without a doubt to pass. Everyone else going to work 50 times harder to pass, because this is going to put you in a situation, meaning that you're going to have to take my final, and you're going to really do some good work to pass. All right? In my second group, no one got to at least a 40%. Again, recording these grades into the grade book, it's done with. The whole class will fail. And again, I emphasize this to all of you because, look, you want to be exempt from that. You guys know y'all want to be exempt. That's not a whole lot of bonus opportunities thrown at y'all. So just be aware. Last semester, a lot was thrown, but this semester, very little is going to be thrown. So you really, 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 really have to step your game up. And again, we are looking for that 40%. Some of you at least made the 30, so that's not too bad, but we got more work to do. All right, fourth block. Okay, someone did score above that 40%. Only one did. But here's the problem, y'all. I'm telling you this. Again, if you don't do right, you're not gonna you're gonna hate algebra 2. I do have tutoring, all that stuff will help you. Okay, that's that group. Alright, in this group, someone was very, 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 very close to getting that 40%. Very close. Like, had this person would ask one or two more questions, that would have been that. So, y'all, then I have another person with a 33 getting close. Then another with a 33. This is not bad for your first time, by the way, taking the ACT. Not bad at all. But again, you're going to have to work a little bit harder. All right, my last group. Someone scored that 40%. Again, y'all, it is essential to get it together. All right? There's going to be some ACT tutoring going on. Don't forget to look at Math Nation. We are doing ACT prep throughout the class. We've been doing it throughout the year. ACT goes all the way back from your fifth grade elementary year all the way through your first semester of your senior year. All right? All right, so enough about ACT. Y'all just be sure to take care of your business, please. And let's just keep it, rolling. Again, I do have my tutorings. You are required to attend 10 of them if you want that bonus gift. Otherwise, if you don't give it a 10, it does not move. You may attend some, but some ain't gonna cut it. 10 is the requirement. Alright, so you guys, The reason why I'm talking about this because in your chemistry and your science ACT, which is the easiest between math and science, you got to know how to, put tables in and know how to graph stuff. So be prepared to know how to do all of this. So to do this, which I won't do all of them because I do want you to kind of do them yourself. So therefore, when you see me, we have something to dialogue about. So here, all you are doing is plugging in these values you see into this X right here. It said complete the table. To complete the table, you gotta do the following. So let's do this, -3. So when X is -3, you'll get -2 times -3 plus 4. Okay, -2 times -3 plus 4. Guess what? That is going to be 10. And the rest of them are exactly like this. I'm not going to spend time on dealing with these tables because I think you just doing one of these will help you from this. So I want you to pause the video and do what I did for the rest of them. And then I'm going to move on and you try this on your own. You're going to do exactly as I did. So pause the video, do it. By now you should have did this. I'm moving on, but if you struggling, please come see me. Alright, complete the table here. It's the same. So 3 times -1 square. And that's just +3. Um, you guys will continue on with this. Alright, y'all. Let's talk about the absolute value situation. Now I know it's been ages since you've seen something like this. And you're like, Mr. Howard, I don't even know how to even do that in the calculator. Well, the good news is you don't have to. You simply just have to know that whatever is in the absolute value is going to be positive unless you got some type of negative sign going on. So, like, for example, -5. -5, because it's on the negative side, it's just 5 points away from 0. So, guess what? It's going to just be 5. Just like that. Again, when it comes to these tables, I want you to kind of do these on your own and then kind of just have a discussion with me later behind this. So for these last few in this table, I will not do them. I recommend you will because I may put them on a quiz or something like that. All right, why don't you try this problem out? In fact, just to make it a little bit challenging, I'm not going to say nothing about this problem, but just please be aware, this is a problem I'm mostly sure going to put on the test. Alright, so here's something interesting that we haven't really been doing in math class, because it's really not the nature. But because in your chemistry class, you're going to be dealing with a lot of graphs and all this and analyzing graphs, we're going to have a discussion behind them. Alright? So let's do this problem together. Before leaving the road trip to Mount Rushmore, Myra's dad stopped at gas for his van. The total cost of gas increases as Myra's dad fills the van. What does the slope tell you about the situation? So keep in mind, it says slope. There's a lot of interpretation, so let's just look at the obvious. So what happens here? The more gallons of gas he put in, the more he spends. So that's the obvious response to it. However, when we think of slope, we go back to our middle school terminology. We think about unit stuff. What that means is something out of one. You hear me? So we're looking for something at the one value. So that means when x is 1, we have to find that y value of 1. Or in the ratio, y over x. Because that's rise over run. So here, if we look at this carefully, at 2, doesn't give us much, but if you struggle with understanding the one value, just pick some points that you could easily read, and then go ahead and do your slope. So let's do it. So, x16, we get a point right here. So 16, comma, 60. That's my first pair. Well, that's a pair. I mean, a point that I want to use. Again, I'm going about the things that I could easily read from the graph. So when it's at 8, I go for $30. Now, I got some information where I could consider my slope. So remember, slope is rise over 1, rise over 1, so it's going to be y over x, or 30, if you remember, y2. Well, let me correct that, because I gotta go in order with this. So my y2 is going to be here, and my 1 is going to be here, so 60 minus 30. And the reason why I'm saying this is because we know slope is positive, so I gotta make sure that when I'm finally doing the work, I get a positive answer. So 60 minus 30, and then 16 minus 8. So now, second quit, 60 minus 30, that's just 30. 30 divided by 2. Well, not 30 divided by 2, I'm tripping. So 30 divided by 8 is 3.75. Because our slope is 3.75. So we found the slope, but now we gotta put it in real life context. So how would we put this in context? So we know it's cost of gallons. So we could say he spends $3.75 per gallon. And that per means 1 gallon. So for 1 gallon, I'm paying $3.75. So that is how you figure that out. Again, this is ACT stuff that you will be dealing with also in your chemistry. So if you struggle with this, come see me. We'll talk further. But I think you got it. All right. You got another situation, but I want you to try this one out on your own. So you try this out, and then we could compare notes. You try it out. All right, by now you have automatically paused the video and worked this out on your own. I assume that you did. If you did, please pause video and do it, then resume the video. So I'm assuming that you did. So let's look at this. This graph has shown the number of yards of fabric Jill has left related to the number of shirts that she sews. How many shirts can Jill sew at most and still have 1 yard of fabric left? So if I'm reading the graph and it says something about 1 yard, I know for a fact that she will have 5 yards of fabric, because it tells you that one, that per that one, you know, because remember when you're dealing with slope, it's rise over one, rise over run, or y over x. So your y is 5 and your x has to be 1. Remember, your x has to be 1, and that's pretty much slope. And this is just me saying something completely different, but at the end of the day, it end up being the same thing because you find the slope. Slope is pretty much per some item. And she could create with 5 yards, 1 shirt. So, however you want to say it, it still means the same thing. All right, graph this line. So, going back to chemistry, I have been asked to go over this because in chemistry, you're going to be doing this on ACT Science. You will be doing this. And this is the easiest thing you could do for ACT Science. And again, ACT Science was my highest score. Followed by my math, and then my reading was, I think I walked out of that ACT reading or something like that. And I did my writing, so that's why my score was 17. Because I didn't take all my sections, so it kind of gets me. Anyway, so here, if you're going to plug in points, let's just say when x equals -1, and I'm trying to find the y value of this. So here, if I plug in 1 right here, -1 minus 6, that's -7, times -3. So -7 times -3. Hold on, let me rephrase myself. I'm tripping just a little bit because that's -1. That's why it's helpful for you to work this out. So -1 minus 6. So if I owe you $1, if I borrow 6 more, I owe you -7. So I owe you $7. So that's right. So -3 times -7, that's a positive 21. Y equals 6. I mean y minus 6 equals 21. And of course we want the variable by itself, so we add 6 to that. So, hold up. What did I do wrong on? Someone caught me on that already. Well, no, I did. I said positive 21. It just looks like -21. So yeah, it's positive 21. I didn't make this letter equal sign, so that's my fault. So 6 plus 21. So 21 plus 6. Y equals 27. So that means that -1 right here, that means that that 27 is going to be far, far away somewhere. So what I want you to do, I want you to do exactly what I did with some points. I want you to plot the points yourself and just draw the line through. So what I want you to do on paper, I want you to create this coordinate grid just like this. Coordinate grid just exactly like this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then I want you to start plotting points. So once you draw your grid, it'll be easier. Why do we not pick points from the grid? So why do we not use +2? So if I use 2, I get 2 minus 6, which is -4 times -3. Then I get y equals y minus 6. I don't know why I keep saying equals. So y minus 6 equals, I don't know, you gotta be like, Mr. Allen, stop writing. Your handwriting is horrible. Type it out. You're a little too entitled if you ask me. Anyway, so here, -3 times -4 is +12. Of course, doing this in the calculator is a lot faster. Y minus 6 equals 12. So if you add 6 to both sides, y is going to be 18. So that's going to be 218. So this 2 and 18 is going to be someone over here. So I drew 2 points. I got 2 points, so I know for a fact. Ooh, let me not do that. Let me try one more time. If this doesn't work, I'm going to quit. So my points right here. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Yes, I did it. I could draw a graph on the mouse. Yeah. So my I use drew 2 points. That's fine. You can use 2 points. You don't have to do it for every point. I just chose 2, and I was able to draw my graph. Bam. In chemistry, you're gonna have to plot points and draw a graph by hand, because that's what you're gonna be doing in chemistry. All right, system of equations. The graphing stuff is not done, but this part evolves around going to Desmos. So this lesson is my favorite because it's pretty easy. All you doing is putting in putting in equations into Desmos, and you're looking for when you got two of the graphs, if they don't touch each other or parallel, they are inconsistent, so they don't touch, and they have no solution. However, when they intersect, they this is independent. Therefore, because it's independent, meaning the graph corresponds once, it's consistent. You have one solution. However, if you have more than one solution, I mean more than one solution, if the solution, that means that both graphs are on the same line and they depend on each other. So that means that it's still consistent. So the only time a graph is not a system of equations is not consistent is when they don't touch each other. So for our solution to be consistent, it's either going to have one or many solutions. Now in your advanced math class, they're going to take this lesson, they're going to do a different spin on it. So here, go to Desmos, put these in. So pause the video, obviously, and do it in Desmos and see what happens. Alright, I trust that you did the honorable thing and you did this yourself. If you have not, please pause the video and try this, because remember, don't lie to yourself and act like you know all this. And then when it comes to these tests, which you're going to see a plenty of, you're going to fail. Alright? So when you put this in Desmos, you're going to see this. And then if you click on the intersection, you realize that that intersection is going to be 6, -6. So that means it's a consistent solution. And because it touches once, it's independent. Right? So why don't we try something? Try putting this in Desmos. And don't forget to pause that video. Alright, I trust that you have did this. If you have not, please pause the video, graph this easy stuff, and then unpause it once you have finished if you have not done so already. So when you graph this in Desmos, you get this. Now, for some reason or another, I did not, get the points of intersection, so you should be able to see this on Desmos. But however, if your graph look like this, you are right, but I need for you to identify the points of intersections for me. Now, what do you know is about this graph versus the previous graph that we just did? And then, what do you know about what do you think the type of solution would be? Will it be still consistent, or will it be inconsistent? Will it be independent or dependent? These are things that you have to ponder on. I won't tell you the answer, obviously. I want you to figure this out on your own. Alright, so you got this graph. People who are in class got this worksheet. People who are doing this online with me, I just want you to put this in Desmos, graph this, and go ahead and get those point of intersection. So you tell me how many solutions I have, which you could see for yourself that there are 2 solutions. But I personally can't see the number of solutions, but I think you can do this in Desmos exactly as you see it, and you should be able to know what's up. So again, this is x squared minus 2x minus 3. Again, this is x squared, and then this is just x. So you should be able to see this better than I can. For some reason, I didn't type this in a sense for myself. All right, I want you to do this one independently. I'm not talking to you about this um, here. I just want you to just tell me what's up. And we could discuss this in class. You're going to see it in Kahoot, and there's going to be a long conversation behind it. Well, one now, I guess we could talk about it. Since the graph is there, it's easy to talk about. So we know for a fact that this has no solution. And because it has no solution, guess what? It's not consistent. It's inconsistent because there's not a single solution. And I'm sorry about trying to do this by hand. So is inconsistent. And I'm gonna just shorten out as inconsistent. Consistent. I can't do it. But again, you just go back to parts of the video if you're looking to see that word again, inconsistent. It's not consistent because it's not touching each other. Alright? Alright. So here, this is a problem again, getting you ready for chemistry and getting you to deal with what you have to deal with. So Joy is going to hire a makeup artist for a fashion show and is comparing prices. Callie charges $40 as a booking fee and an additional fee of $30 per hour. Fernando charges $45 per hour plus a booking fee of $10. Depending on the length of the show, these costs could end up being the same for either artist. So what would the cost be? So what I'm asking for, applied to what you just learned about the types of solutions, you're looking for when does it cross? Is it parallel? Or will both graphs be on the same line? So to do this, to translate these word problems here, you got to be able to annotate what's going on here. So here, look at that Callie. She's charged with $4 as a booking fee plus additional 30 per hour. The per hour is going to denote itself as 30x plus 40. That's the equation. And Fernando, I want you to try Fernando. So I'll give you maybe 10 seconds to come up with the equation. So you may have not written down the equation. That's okay, but however, you look at Fernando, you know he charges $4 per hour, which is 45x plus 10. So therefore, you got what you need. And those are the equations for both of them. Now, you can put this in Desmos exactly as you see it, and you should come across a particular intercept. And when you graph this in Desmos, you're going to have to zoom up all the way up because you deal with some bigger numbers. It's going to be in 2 hours, they're both going to charge $100. And that's what happens. So, that's pretty much it for the lesson. It's not hard. It's pretty simplistic. And again, just make sure that we work on our ACT practice. Again, that's our first time taking ACT. Those are not horrible scores. Those are okay for our first time doing it, but we're going to review. Homework is going to be more along the lines of exactly what we just taught, plus a little bit more ACT practice. Alright, do not forget to attend tutoring. Remember, I need 10 tutoring sessions to get any form of bonus points. Because again, this semester, I don't have a whole lot to give you.